Hi everyone, welcome back to this new video of this object-oriented programming series with C++. In this video, we are going to learn about constructors. So constructors are nothing. Constructors are member functions which have a same name as the class name, and they are mainly used to initialize the member variables with respective values. Up to this video, when we have used a class, we have assigned the data members or the member variables with the values using the set functions. We were supplying parameters to the set functions, and using the set functions we were assigning values to the private members. Okay, private members or data members. Now the concept of constructor is introduced so that we can assign the values to this private members during the creation of objects. So likewise, because of this, there were three constructors which were introduced. First one was the copy constructor, second is default, third one is parameterized. Sequence may vary as per you can arrange them. So the default constructor is mainly concerned about assigning default values to the member variables. So when no parameter is applied, the default constructor is called and default values are assigned to the member variables. Suppose you want to assign member variables with the data during the runtime or as per your wish. So you may need to use the parameterized constructor, which is used to assign values to the data member and member objects with their parameterized value, which are passed during the creation of objects. And last category is the copy constructor, which is useful for copying values of private member from one object to another object, as simple as that. Now, few important points about constructors. Constructors are member functions. They are declared inside a class. Okay. Now constructors have same name as the class name. Constructors do not have any return type, not even void. Right? So these are the few things about constructors. Let us go to our coding environment. We will code and understand various things about constructors, and likewise I believe that it will be very easy for you to understand the concept of constructors. So let's go to our coding environment and we are going to understand the concept of constructors. So let's go. So as you can see, I am in my coding environment. We will follow the same old example of rectangle. So let's make a class rectangle. Okay, so this rectangle class will have two members, so int length, int breadth. Okay, so and also if you want to add a method to check whether the assignment was happening properly or not, so for that you may add a area function which will return the product of length and breadth as the result. Right, clear up to now? So up to now we have not made a setter function to assign values to this length and breadth. Why? Because we are going to achieve the same functionality using the constructors. So let's make the constructor. So I have told you that constructors have same name as the class name. So my rectangle will be the name of the constructors. Now since my constructor is a member function, so it will have parentheses, and in this place, in this braces, I am going to assign the values to the length and the breadth. Now since we are concerned about making a default constructor, so we will not have any parameter in this case for this constructor. So I mean to assign length to be 0 by default and breadth to be 0 by default. So this is the work of a default constructor, to assign default values to the member variables. Okay, clear up to now? So let's see whether our constructor is working properly or not. So we'll create rectangle R1. Remember that constructors are automatically called while creation of the objects. So once you create the rectangle R1, the constructor will be called by default. So R1 we have made, constructor is called. We can simply write and do a cout. The area is R1.area. So if you do this, you are expected to get 0 as output because you are using the default constructor. So let's run this, and I'm expected to get 0 as output, which is perfectly coming. Okay, so this was about default constructor. Now suppose you want to supply values to the length and the breadth while creation of the object. So for that you need a parameterized constructor. So let's create the parameterized constructor. So rectangle. Okay. Now in this case, since we are concerned about making a parameterized constructor, so I will have to supply the parameter over here. So it can be int L, int. Okay. So it will be length equal to L and breadth equal to, clear. So I am assigning the length and the breadth with the values of the parameter which is supplied over here. Great. So let's now create another object of this rectangle class, and now this time we will supply the parameterized value. Okay. So this was about the rectangle R1. So now if I, during the creation of this R1, if I supply value to be 10 and 20, so we have assigned the values to this length and the breadth using this parameterized constructor which we have created just now. So if you run this, you are expected to getting 200 as the output. So the area is 200 and we have successfully assigned the value to our object or the private members using the parameterized constructor. Cool. Now there is another concept of this pointer which is a little out of the scope at this point of time, but I believe it is the perfect point of explaining this pointer to you. Now this pointer is a pointer which is useful for referring to the current object which calls the function. Now suppose if you have the same name as length in this parameter is area, here and breadth over here. Okay. Now here becomes an ambiguity. Here if you write length equal to length and breadth equal to breadth, then the compiler will be confused. So to resolve this ambiguity, we use this pointer. So this pointer is useful for referring to the current object which calls the function. So for this current object, my length is this dot length and my breadth is this dot breadth. So I will write like this dot length equal to length, which is the parameter value, and this dot breadth equal to breadth. You can also call that as arrow. Okay. Fine. So if my parameter name and the private member name is same, to resolve the ambiguity we use this operator. So if you run this, you will again get the same result as 200. So this was about the parameterized constructor, and we have also learned about the concept of this pointer. Cool up to now. Now at this point of time, we are going to understand the concept of the copy constructor. Okay. So let us now understand the concept of copy constructor. So the primary focus of the copy constructor is to assign the values from one object to another object. So copy constructor will also take a parameter which is another object of the same class. So let's go and let's do it. So remember, copy constructor always take the object as reference, otherwise there an error may be called or formed which may lead to a recursion calling of the copy constructor. So to avoid this, copy constructor always takes the object by reference. Okay, so we'll make another class, another constructor, and this time it will be a copy constructor. So since it is a copy constructor, so it will receive another object of the same class, rectangle, but as a reference, say P. Okay, now I'm going to assign the values of this class's length and breadth from the P class, P object. So I will assign length to be P dot length and breadth to be P dot breadth. Done. This is our copy constructor and we have successfully made it. Now suppose you want to make another object, say rectangle R2. Now you want to copy the values from R1 to R2, and in that R2 you want to find out the area. So since we have already done this copy constructor, we can simply write R2 equal to R1. So at this point of time, our copy constructor will be evoked or called. So when you do R2 dot area and you may do a cout like this. Cout area is this, and when you do r2 dot area, you are expected to get the area as say 200. So see, the answer is coming 200. So we are using the copy constructor this time. Now another important concept is that the concept of destructor. Now destructor is also similar to the constructor, but unlike the constructor, here it is useful for doing the cleanup process. Now once all the operations regarding an object is done, a destructor is called. So a destructor is primarily used to deallocate a space which is acquired by an object. So destructor is written in this way. We use a tilde sign. This is a tilde sign, okay, and we will write the class name, rectangle, and this is our destructor. So to understand how the destructor is working, so you may just add a cout that destructor is called. Okay, so destructor is generally nothing. It is useful for deallocating the space which is taken by the object, and it is called once all the operations performed on a particular object is completed. So if you run this, you may see that destructor is called. We get 2 times. Why? Because we have created 2 objects over here. So when both the objects are finishing its work, both the destructors are being called to deallocate the space taken by them. So this was all about the concept of constructors, destructors, and the various types of constructor which we have seen in this video. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video with the concept of exception handling in C++. It is a very interesting topic. I hope you will like it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.